Thousands of years ago, across the lands we now call Mexico, communities transformed hills, rivers and valleys into thriving cities. In Oaxaca, the Zapotecs shaped Monte Alban, sculpting terraces to grow maize and beans, carefully managing water, and organizing villages to support growing populations. Far in the Yucatan, the Maya built Chichen Itza. With incredible precision, transporting limestone, leveling uneven ground, and placing each stone with purpose. Every effort reflected patience, collaboration, and ingenuity. Was not just survival, it was creating lasting cities where families could thrive. Trade could flourish, and generations could leave their mark on the land. Over centuries, these communities, along with others across this territory, lay the foundation for the development of the region that would one day become the country we now know as Mexico. This journey begins with an island that breaks every assumption. A common misconception is that islands are always easy to navigate. Holbox challenges this. Its streets are sandy and cars are almost non-existent. But this is not inconvenience. It defines the island's character. Many assume wildlife encounters are staged for tourists. In reality, Holbox sits along one of the world's most important migratory routes. Each year, whale sharks pass through its waters. Flamingos gather in shallow lagoons. And countless seabirds make it their home. Visitors witness these moments naturally, in real time, not in enclosures or controlled spaces. Another misconception is that islands are uniform, just sand and sun. Holbox surprises with hidden mangroves, salt flats, and estuaries that filter water and sustain the local fishing communities. In the evenings, the island transforms. Colourful boats return from the sea, silhouetted against the horizon, while the sunset paints the sky in shades of gold, pink, and orange. It is a view that feels both serene and unforgettable, a perfect reflection of the island's harmony between nature and human life. Cobblestone streets wind through hills that glow golden in the late afternoon sun. San Miguel de Allende isn't just a pretty postcard, it's a city that has quietly shaped Mexico's history and culture for centuries. One misconception is that the city exists only for wealthy travelers or expatriates. While international visitors do arrive here, the city's character is deeply shaped by its local community. Daily life, local businesses, and the rhythms of the city give it a unique personality. Another myth concerns safety. The media often paints Mexico as dangerous, and some believe San Miguel is affected by drug-related crime. In reality, it is considered one of the safest cities in the country. While no city is entirely free of crime, incidents related to drugs are extremely rare, and they do not impact everyday life for residents or visitors. San Miguel de Allende demonstrates that Mexico's richness isn't just something you see, it is something you experience. Beyond its streets, the rooftops glow in the morning sun, blending seamlessly with the colorful architecture. Every view, every moment, the sunlight, the hills, the city itself, captures a sense of serenity and timeless beauty. Perched on steep hillsides, Taxco is often seen as just another colonial town. But that view only scratches the surface. Many people believe the city's charm comes only from its history. While its colonial past is impressive, Taxco offers much more. Founded around rich silver mines, it became a centre for trade and culture, and its streets were carefully designed to follow the natural hills. This combination of geography and human planning gives the city a unique character that can't be found anywhere else. Some think visiting the city is physically demanding or difficult. The streets are steep, yes, but every climb rewards you with breathtaking perspectives. From hilltop views to distant valleys, you can see how the city fits perfectly into the surrounding mountains. There is also a belief that Taxco may be unsafe because of its mining history. In reality, the city is considered very safe. Daily life continues peacefully, and the streets maintain the same calm rhythm that has endured for generations. Grutas de Tolantongo is often mistaken for a luxury hot spring destination, as if it were carefully planned and built for comfort. In truth, it is a raw, naturally formed canyon, where thermal water rises straight from the mountain itself, spilling through rock walls, tunnels, and pools shaped entirely by time. Another widespread belief is that the pools are artificially heated. The warmth here is geological. Mineral-rich water rises from deep underground, maintaining a steady temperature year-round. This same water feeds the Tolantongo River, which runs through the canyon below, creating a striking contrast between cool flowing currents and warm thermal streams. Many imagine Tolantongo as a small attraction meant for quick visits. What surprises most people is its scale. The canyon opens wide, with steam drifting above the river, crossing turquoise water, and layers of rock forming natural grottos that encourage slow exploration rather than haste. One persistent myth is that the pyramids were built by the Aztecs. In truth, they were constructed centuries earlier by a civilization whose identity remains unknown. That mystery has inspired legends of giants, lost civilizations, and even extraterrestrial builders. But these are stories, not facts. For a long time, people believed that Teotihuacan was abandoned all at once, as if everyone had left overnight. The truth is, the city slowly declined over time because of social and environmental changes. Over the years, this gradual process turned into stories of sudden desertion, which added to the city's sense of mystery and made it even more fascinating to visitors. The reality is very different. Thousands of visitors climb it safely every day. The steps are steep, yes, but the climb offers a tangible connection to the vision and skill of the ancient builders. And for a completely different perspective, there's nothing like seeing Teotihuacan from above. Hot air balloons rise at sunrise, floating over the pyramids, bathing the city in golden light. From above, you can truly appreciate the scale, symmetry, and beauty of a city that has inspired curiosity for centuries. A common myth is that the crater lakes, Lago del Sol and Lago de la Luna, are just ordinary mountain ponds. These lakes were formed by volcanic activity thousands of years ago, creating a unique ecosystem. For generations, local communities believed the waters held protective or sacred qualities. These crater lakes sit within the Nevado de Toluca volcano, also known as Sinantecatl, an extinct stratovolcano rising over 4,600 meters above sea level. Its massive caldera and twin lakes make it one of the few volcanoes in the world where visitors can explore a volcanic crater so closely. Taking in dramatic landscapes, misty mornings, and the vastness of the high-altitude environment. Nevado de Toluca is often thought of as a destination only for experienced climbers. Many imagine the trails as perilous and inaccessible. In reality, the paths are manageable for a wide range of visitors. While the high altitude can be challenging, anyone prepared can witness the incredible landscapes, volcanic slopes without specialized equipment. Guanajuato City is often misunderstood, judged by headlines rather than by what it truly is. One of the biggest myths is that drug activity dominates life here. The reality is very different. The streets feel calm and safe, with a rhythm of daily life that continues without tension or fear. Another common assumption is that the city developed without order. In truth, Guanajuato grew out of necessity. Narrow streets and layered neighborhoods follow the curves of the surrounding hills, creating an urban landscape shaped by the land itself. It is a living city, where history and modern life blend naturally. The energy is vibrant without ever feeling overwhelming. As night falls, the city lights begin to glow, and rooftops with a golden shimmer. Guanajuato transforms under the darkness, showing a depth that goes far beyond first impressions. The city is not defined by headlines, fear, or stereotypes. It is defined by its history, its architecture, and the quiet continuity that brings every street, every corner, and every view to life. Chichen Itza is often treated like a single landmark, a quick stop on a travel list. In reality, it was a living city that grew over centuries. Its buildings come from different periods, each reflecting shifts in power, influence, and everyday life, layer by layer, not all at once. There's also a well-known story tied to the main pyramid. When someone claps at its base, the echo sounds like a bird call. Many believe this effect was intentionally designed. Later research suggests it may simply be a result of the pyramid's stepped structure. Even so, the sound became so familiar that it shaped how visitors understood the site for decades. Another common assumption is that Chichen Itza existed only as a symbolic space. In reality, it functioned as an important urban center. Trade routes passed through the region, connecting distant communities and allowing ideas, materials, and techniques to flow in and out. The layout of the city shows clear planning designed to support long-term settlement, not just short visits. Some believe Chichen Itza only makes sense with a guide. In reality, simply walking through the site reveals its scale, precision, and the thoughtful planning behind every structure. Long before modern tourism, this stretch of land developed around the sea, shaped by wind, tides, and constant movement across the Caribbean. Many think the island exists only for relaxation and sightseeing. In truth, generations relied on understanding the water for survival, navigating currents, timing boats, and following fishing routes were essential skills passed down through experience. Even today, the island moves to the pace of the sea rather than the clock. A lesser-known fact is that Isla Mujeres was once a hub for the Mayan salt trade. For centuries, the island's shallow coastal lagoons produced salt, which were harvested and transported to the mainland. This made the island an important economic centre long before tourism, connecting it to trade routes across the Yucatan Peninsula. Generations of island families relied on salt production for their livelihood, and even today, the layout of the island reflects these early economic activities. Visitors rarely hear this story. Yet it explains how such a small island supported a vibrant community for centuries, long before resorts and ferries arrived. Visitors often expect the waters to remain calm year-round. In truth, the sea can change quickly. Shifts in wind and currents can reshape the coastline in minutes, surprising travelers and teaching generations to respect its power. Popocatépetl and Iztaccíhuatl are two of Mexico's most striking volcanoes, standing as guardians over the Central Valley. Many think they are distant and inactive, but Popocatépetl remains one of the country's most active volcanoes. Its occasional eruptions closely monitored for the safety of nearby towns. Iztaccíhuatl, with its snow-capped peaks, is dormant, yet its towering presence commands respect and admiration. A common misconception is that these mountains are merely natural formations, separate from human life. In truth, they have shaped both culture and daily existence for generations. One notable event occurred in 1947 when a significant eruption of Popocatépetl forced temporary evacuations, reminding communities of the volcano's power and the careful balance between human settlement and nature. Its slopes contain ancient glaciers and volcanic soils, creating unique, high-altitude ecosystems. Scientists have studied these areas for decades, showing that even a dormant volcano plays an active role in shaping the environment and influencing the surrounding landscape. Many also believe the volcanoes are predictable and unchanging. In reality, weather, smoke, and ash can shift rapidly, transforming the landscape within hours and showing how alive and dynamic these mountains truly are. Some visitors assume Puebla is dangerous or unsafe, influenced by generalizations about crime in Mexico. In reality, the city's historic and central areas feel secure and welcoming. Life moves at a steady, calm pace, far removed from the tension or fear that outsiders often expect. Many also see Puebla only as a historic city with colourful buildings and colonial charm, but that perception scratches just the surface. There is a common belief that it exists solely as a tourist spot, frozen in time for visitors to admire. In truth, Puebla is a working city where daily life continues alongside its rich heritage. Another misconception is that Puebla is overshadowed by Mexico City and therefore lacks significance. In reality, the city has played a central role in the country's story, from colonial trade routes to moments like the famous Battle of Puebla in 1862. Puebla challenges assumptions at every turn. Its influence is visible everywhere, in the architecture, the street layout that has shaped generations. Archaeologists have found that Uxmal wasn't built all at once. It took shape over centuries, with builders constantly adapting to the uneven ground. That alone tells you this wasn't some small or forgettable place. Still, many people assume Uxmal is a quiet ruin, often compared to larger, better-known sites like Chichen Itza. The truth is, Uxmal was an important ceremonial and administrative center, carefully planned and deeply connected to the region around it. Another idea that doesn't hold up is that the buildings all look the same. As you walk through Uxmal, each structure feels different. The stonework changes, the shapes shift, and the designs become more detailed the closer you look. The Pyramid of the Magician immediately stands out, not because of size alone, but because of its unusual elliptical form and the skill it took to build it that way. Some visitors also worry that exploring Uxmal will be physically exhausting. In reality, most of the site is easy to walk through. You can move at your own pace, stopping whenever you want to take in the carvings, patterns, and carefully crafted facades. It's the kind of place where history doesn't rush you. It invites you to slow down and really see what's there. For many people, Real de Catorce sounds like one of those places that disappeared overnight. A town built on silver and left behind just as quickly. But that idea doesn't really match what happened here. The decline came slowly in the early 20th century, as mining work faded over time. Families adjusted in different ways. Some left to begin new lives elsewhere, while others stayed, holding on to their homes and daily routines. Years later, people began returning, restoring old buildings and bringing purpose back into familiar spaces. What appears abandoned today is often preserved by choice, not neglect. There's also an assumption that Real de Catorce is empty or frozen in the past. In reality, the town moves at a gentle pace shaped by the desert and the surrounding mountains. Houses seem to emerge naturally from the hillsides, built into the slopes rather than placed on flat ground. From a distance, they blend into the landscape, creating a quiet harmony between stone, earth, and sky. This is a kind of beauty few people talk about. Not dramatic or polished, but deeply rooted in the land itself. Copper Canyon is often compared to the Grand Canyon, but that comparison only tells part of the story. It is not a single gorge. It is a system of 6 interconnected canyons, each with its own shape, depth, and ecosystem. Together, they cover over 25,000 square kilometers, making the area far larger and more varied than most people realize. Many believe the canyon is remote and hard to reach, and that it exists only as a natural spectacle, untouched by human life. In reality, people have lived here for centuries. There is another belief that the canyon is dry and barren. In truth, it is filled with forests, rivers, and wildlife. and as the sun sets, the cliffs glow in shades of gold and copper, creating a rich, thriving environment that surprises anyone who ventures here. Some also think visiting is only for hikers or adventure seekers. In reality, panoramic viewpoints and a cable car offer sweeping access to the canyon, allowing travelers of all ages to experience its vast scale and dramatic beauty when most Americans think about beaches in Mexico, they imagine resorts, crowds, and constant activity. Playa Balandra changes that assumption the moment you understand what it actually is. This is not a resort beach, it's a protected natural bay, and that definition explains almost everything about it. Because it's protected, there are no hotels on the shoreline. Because access is controlled, the water stays clear. And because preservation comes first, the landscape looks the way it has for generations. People often misunderstand the word pristine. They assume it means wild or untouched in a harsh way. At Playa Balandra, pristine means shallow, calm, and balanced. The water remains ankle to knee-deep far from shore, allowing sunlight to move through it. That's what creates the layered shades of turquoise and blue. No filters, no enhancement, just physics and light. And here's what surprises people most. Playa Balandra is completely free. No resort pass, no tour, no gatekeeping, just accessible, world-class beauty. What this place really reveals is not a secret beach, but a larger truth. Mexico hasn't run out of extraordinary places. Many Americans just stopped looking closely, assuming they already understood the country. Playa Balandra gently proves otherwise.